Imagine your 10th summer. Go back there for a second. The summer when you were 10 years old. It went on forever, didn't it? It had a beginning so far from its end that the two barely seemed connected. There were whole afternoons that lasted longer than some of your years do now. A single day at the start of June felt like an open field with no fence in sight. You were bored, sometimes, in that deep, stretched, endless way that only a child can be bored. Time pooling around your ankles, thick and slow, going nowhere. Now imagine last year. The whole thing, 12 months. Try to feel its length. You can't, really. It's already gone. It slipped by while you were busy, and now it's a blur of a few scattered moments and a vague sense that it happened fast. Last year was the same length as that 10th summer was a fraction of. 12 months versus 3. And yet the 3 months felt enormous, and the 12 months felt like nothing at all. This is the great vanishing. The strangest, most universal complaint of getting older. The sense that time is accelerating, that the years are folding in on themselves, that you blink and a season is gone. You blink again, and it's somehow this month again, this year again, already. Everyone feels it, and almost everyone assumes it's just a sad, fixed fact of aging that you can't do anything about. But here's the thing I want you to hold on to for the next few minutes, because it changes everything. Time is not actually speeding up. The clock has not changed. An hour is still an hour. A year is still a year. What's changed is something happening inside your own head. Something specific, something understandable. And here's the part almost nobody knows. Something you can partly reverse. You can slow time back down. Not metaphorically, actually. And by the end of this, you're going to know exactly how. But to get there, we have to solve the mystery first. Why did the summers used to last forever? Hold that question, because the obvious answer is wrong, and the real answer is the key to everything. Let's start with the explanation most people reach for, because it's partly true, and it sets up the much stranger truth underneath. When you are 5 years old, 1 year is 20% of your entire life. It's an enormous slice. It's everything you can remember and a huge fraction of everything you've ever lived. Of course it feels long. It's 1/5 of all the existence you've got. But when you are 50, 1 year is just 2% of your life, a thin sliver, a small fraction of a vast accumulated whole. So the same year, measured against everything you've lived, feels proportionally tiny. This is sometimes called the ratio theory of time, and it has a real intuitive pull. Each passing year is a smaller and smaller share of your total, so each one feels shorter than the last. The math is relentless. By the time you're 40, a year really is, proportionally, a fraction of what it was when you were 8. And this is true, as far as it goes. But it can't be the whole story, because it doesn't explain the moment-to-moment feeling. It doesn't explain why a single boring afternoon in childhood could feel longer than a packed adult week. It doesn't explain why some weeks as an adult still feel long and others vanish. Ratio theory is a backdrop. It's not the engine. The real engine is something else entirely. And once you understand it, you'll understand not just why time speeds up, but how to fight back. So here's the real mechanism. And it comes down to a single strange truth about how your brain measures time after the fact. Your brain does not have a clock. Not for the past. When you look back and ask, how long did that take? How long was that trip? How long was that year? Your brain cannot consult a timer because it doesn't have one. So it uses a substitute. It estimates the length of a stretch of time by how many memories it formed during it. How much is stored, how dense the recording is. A period packed with vivid, distinct, novel memories feels long when you look back on it, because there's so much there. so much was recorded, so there must have been a lot of time to record it in. And a period with almost no distinct memories feels short because there's almost nothing stored. It's a smooth, blank stretch, so your brain assumes it must have been brief. Memory density is the ruler your brain uses to measure the past. More memories, longer feeling time. Fewer memories, shorter feeling time. Now, hold that up against childhood, and the whole mystery dissolves. When you were a child, almost everything was new. Every single thing was a first. The first time you saw the ocean. The first time you rode a bike. The first day of school. The first time you stayed up past midnight. The first time you tasted something, went somewhere, felt something you'd never felt before. Your brain was recording constantly, frantically, because novelty is exactly what the brain decides is worth keeping. New means important. New means store this in detail. You might need it. So childhood laid down memory after memory after memory. A dense, rich, packed recording. And when you look back on it now, all that density reads as enormous length. The summers feel endless because they genuinely are, in your memory, crammed full. That's why the 10th summer feels longer than last year. It has more in it. Think about how much a single childhood day could hold. You could wake up, build an entire imaginary world in the backyard, fall and scrape your knee, taste a fruit for the first time, watch a thunderstorm roll in and feel genuine awe at it, make a new friend, have a fight, make up, learn a word, and lie in bed at night with the whole enormous day still buzzing in your head. To a child, a day is a continent. There's so much in it that's never been seen before. So much the brain has flagged as new and worth keeping that a single day records like a week of adult life. The long car ride that felt like crossing a country. The afternoon that wouldn't end. Those weren't longer hours. They were just hours so full of firsts that your brain filled entire reels of memory with them. Density again. The child's day is dense. The adult's day is thin. And now, hold it up against your adult life, and you'll feel the floor drop out. What does an ordinary adult week actually contain? You wake up at the same time. You take the same route to the same place. You do roughly the same work. You see roughly the same people. You eat roughly the same things, scroll the same feeds, drive the same roads, come home to the same evening, and go to bed at the same time, to do it all again. It is competent. It is functional. It might even be pleasant. But to your brain, almost none of it is new. And what isn't new doesn't get recorded in detail. Here's the crucial part. When you do something for the 100th time, your brain stops paying full attention. It runs the whole thing on autopilot, on a script it already knows. And it lays down almost no new memory at all. Think about driving a familiar route. You arrive, and you genuinely cannot remember the drive. You were there. Your hands were on the wheel. You stopped at the lights. But your brain recorded nothing, because there was nothing new to record. It just ran the old program. That blank drive is what your adult life is slowly becoming. Stretch after stretch of unrecorded autopilot. And it's worth understanding why your brain does this, because it's not laziness, it's brilliant, ruthless efficiency. Your brain is, at its core, a prediction machine. Every moment, it's quietly guessing what comes next, and most of the time it's right, because most of life repeats. When reality matches the prediction, your brain barely registers it. Why waste precious energy and storage recording something it already knew was going to happen? It only really wakes up, only really records, when something violates the prediction. When something is surprising, new, unexpected. Surprise is the signal that says, pay attention, update, store this. So your brain is built to ignore the expected and capture only the surprising, which is genuinely efficient, and which is also exactly why a life that becomes perfectly predictable becomes a life your brain almost entirely fails to save. Childhood is nothing but prediction errors, because the child can't predict anything yet. It's all surprising, all worth recording. Adulthood is the slow process of getting better and better at predicting your own life, until almost nothing surprises you anymore, and so almost nothing gets kept. You didn't lose your memory. You got too good at predicting your days, and your brain stopped bothering to write them down. So when you look back on the year, your brain reaches for the memories to measure it, and finds almost nothing. A handful of distinct moments floating in a vast, smooth blank. And it concludes, correctly by its own logic, that the year must have been short, because there's so little of it stored. The year didn't feel fast because it went fast. It feels fast in retrospect because you barely recorded it. You lived it on autopilot, and autopilot doesn't save. This is why time speeds up as you age, not because of the ratio, because life becomes familiar, and familiar doesn't get recorded, and unrecorded time collapses into nothing when you look back. The more your life turns into routine, the less of it your brain keeps, and the faster it all seems to vanish behind you. And there's a beautiful little paradox hidden inside this that proves the whole thing. Researchers have noticed something they sometimes call the holiday paradox. Think about a week somewhere new, a trip, a vacation, a place you'd never been. In the moment, while you're living it, that week can feel like it's flying by because you're absorbed, present, having a wonderful time. But then you get home and you look back, and that single week feels like it lasted a month. It's huge in memory. It expanded. Meanwhile, the routine week before the trip felt completely normal in the moment, and then vanished without a trace the second it was over. That's the key right there. Novel time feels fast in the moment, but long in memory. Routine time feels normal in the moment, but disappears in memory. And since the feeling of a life speeding up is a memory effect, it's about looking back. The answer is obvious. A life made of novelty stays long in your memory. A life made of routine collapses. The trip stretches. The ordinary week is deleted. Same 7 days, completely different lengths depending on how much was new. This also explains something you may have already noticed about the different chapters of a life. Think about your late teens and your 20s. For most people, that stretch feels enormous in memory, packed, eventful, slow in the best way. And it makes perfect sense because that decade is wall-to-wall firsts. First time living away from home, first real job, first apartment, first love, first heartbreak, first time you paid your own bills, traveled on your own, became someone. The firsts come so thick and fast that your brain records almost all of it, and the whole decade swells up huge. Then come the 30s and 40s, and for many people, something shifts. The firsts thin out. You've had the jobs, found the partner, settled the patterns. Life gets good, maybe, but it also gets known. And those decades start to compress, to slip, to blur together in a way the 20s never did. People in their 40s often can't quite believe how fast the last 10 years went. And it's not because the years were shorter. It's because they were made of repeats, and repeats don't record. There's an exception that proves the rule, and it's a tender one. Having a child can suddenly make time feel full again, even rich and slow in memory. Because a child drags you back into a world of firsts. Their first steps, their first words, their first day of school. You get to borrow their novelty. See ordinary things become new again through eyes that have never seen them. Parents often say the early years felt like they lasted forever and went by in a flash, both at once, which is the holiday paradox running across years instead of weeks. Fast in the living, vast in the memory, because it was so dense with new. Now, there's one thing that might be nagging at you, and it's worth clearing up because it's the deepest piece of the whole puzzle. You might be thinking, wait, childhood boredom felt slow. Those endless afternoons felt long while I was living them, not just in memory. So how does that fit? Here's the answer, and it's beautiful once it clicks. Your brain measures time two completely different ways depending on which direction you're looking. Looking forward, in the moment, time feels slow when you're bored and fast when you're absorbed. Because boredom means your attention is stuck, staring at the clock with nothing to fill it. So each minute drags. But looking backward, in memory, the rule flips entirely. A boring stretch leaves few memories, so it feels short in retrospect. An absorbing, novel stretch leaves many memories, so it feels long in retrospect. So a long, boring childhood afternoon felt slow while you were trapped in it. And yet that same childhood, packed with so many novel firsts, feels enormous when you look back. The boredom stretched the individual minutes. The novelty stretched the whole memory. Both true. That's why nothing about childhood time is a contradiction. And it's why, as an adult, the cruelest combination is the one most of us live in. Days that feel fast in the moment because we're busy and absorbed in routine. And then also feel short in memory because that routine was nothing new. Fast going in, gone coming out. The worst of both. The years that truly vanish are the busy, comfortable, unremarkable ones. Full enough to feel quick, familiar enough to leave nothing behind. So now you understand the mystery. The summers lasted forever because they were full of firsts. And the years vanish now because you've run out of firsts. You've seen the ocean. You know how to ride the bike. The newness ran out and your brain quietly stopped recording. And the unrecorded years slipped through your fingers like they were never there. But this is exactly where the twist lives. And it's not a sad twist, it's the opposite. Because if time feels fast precisely because your life has become familiar, then time is not actually running out faster. You are simply recording less of it. And recording is something you have control over. The reason the years are vanishing isn't that the clock sped up, it's that you stopped paying attention to your own life. You stopped having first times. And the moment you start having them again, time thickens right back up. Read that again, because it's the whole point. You can slow time down. Not by adding hours to the day, you can't, but by changing how much of each day your brain actually records. A year crammed with novelty and presence will feel, in memory, far longer than a year of smooth autopilot. You are not a passenger watching time accelerate out the window. You have your hands on the dial. Most people just never realize the dial exists, so they leave it set to autopilot and then mourn how fast it all went. And here's why this matters more than it might sound like it does. We tend to measure a life in years, as if the number of years is what counts. But you don't experience your life in years, you experience it in moments. In what you actually recorded, what you can actually feel when you look back. A person who lived 80 years on autopilot and a person who lived 60 years wide awake. The second one, in every way that's lived rather than counted, had the longer life. Length on the calendar is not the same as length in the only place a life is ever actually felt, which is your memory. That should change something about how you treat an ordinary day. Because every day you run on autopilot isn't just a day that passes. It's a day that effectively never happened. A day deleted before it was even saved. A small piece of your one finite life that you were technically present for and will never be able to find again. We think we're afraid of running out of time, but most of us aren't running out of time. We're throwing it away, unrecorded, in exchange for comfort, and calling it the years going fast. The good news is the same fact pointed the other way. Every day you choose to wake up for is a day you get to keep. So how do you actually do it? How do you press record again? Let me give you the real, specific ways, because this is where it becomes useful. The first is novelty. Deliberate, sought-out newness. Your brain records the new and deletes the familiar, so the way to slow time is to keep feeding it things it hasn't seen before. Take a different route home, one you've never driven. Eat at the place you always pass and never enter. Learn the thing you've been meaning to learn. Go to the city you've never been to, even for a weekend. Every genuinely new experience forces your brain off autopilot and back into recording mode and lays down dense, vivid memory, which means that stretch of your life will feel long when you look back instead of vanishing. A year with a dozen real firsts in it is a year you'll be able to feel the length of for the rest of your life. This is why people who keep traveling, keep learning, keep throwing themselves into new things often feel like they're living longer, fuller lives. They are, in the only way that actually counts, in memory. The second is presence. And this one is quieter, but maybe even more powerful. Even ordinary moments get recorded richly if you actually pay attention to them. The reason routine vanishes is that you stop noticing it. You run it on autopilot, mind elsewhere, recording nothing. But you can choose to be there, to actually taste the coffee instead of drinking it while scrolling, to notice the walk instead of disappearing into your thoughts, to look at the faces of the people you love instead of half seeing them across a familiar dinner. Attention is what turns an experience into a memory, and a memory is what gives time its length. When you are fully present, even a normal Tuesday gets recorded, and a recorded Tuesday is a Tuesday that didn't vanish. There's a reason the times you were most present in your life are also the times you remember most vividly. The times that feel, in retrospect, the longest and the fullest. Presence is the opposite of autopilot, and autopilot is what's eating your years. Here's a way to feel the difference immediately. Think about the last truly great meal you had, somewhere new, with people you loved, where you were completely there for it, tasting the food, hearing the conversation, noticing the light. You can probably still feel that evening. It has length and texture and weight in your memory. Now try to recall what you ate for dinner 3 Tuesdays ago. Nothing. Total blank. Same activity, eating dinner. One you were present for, one you ran on autopilot while staring at a screen. One got saved as a piece of your life. The other was deleted in real time. That's the entire mechanism, sitting on 2 plates. So here's a concrete thing you can actually do, starting this week. Run a small novelty audit on your own life. Look at an ordinary week and notice how much of it is pure repeat. The same route, the same lunch, the same scroll, the same evening shape. Then start planting deliberate firsts into the blank spaces. Not big ones necessarily. A new street to walk down, a dish you've never cooked, a conversation with someone you'd normally just nod at, a skill, a place, a book, a kind of music you've never let yourself try. Each one is a small flag your brain will plant in the timeline, a marker that says something happened here. Record this. String enough of those flags across a year and you build a year you can actually feel the length of, instead of one that vanishes the moment it ends. And pair the novelty with presence, because they're 2 halves of the same tool. New experiences get recorded richly because they're new. Old experiences can still get recorded richly if you simply show up for them, if you put the phone down and actually inhabit the walk, the meal, the face across the table. Between deliberate novelty and deliberate presence, you have everything you need to take your hand off the autopilot switch. And the third is to understand what you're really fighting, which is comfort. Here's the uncomfortable part. The thing that makes time vanish, routine, familiarity, sameness, is also the thing that feels safe and easy and pleasant. We build comfortable lives on purpose. We seek out the familiar restaurant, the known route, the predictable evening, because they ask nothing of us. But comfort is, almost by definition, the absence of novelty. And the absence of novelty is the deletion of time. So the more perfectly comfortable and routine you make your life, the faster it will slip away from you. Not because comfort is bad, but because a life optimized entirely for ease is a life your brain will barely bother to record. The richest, longest-feeling lives usually have a little friction in them, a little newness, a willingness to be slightly uncomfortable in exchange for being fully awake. You don't have to blow up your life. You don't have to quit everything and travel the world, though you could. You just have to refuse to let it become entirely automatic. To keep planting firsts. To stay awake to the days instead of sleepwalking through them. Because the alternative is what you already know. A smooth, comfortable blur that speeds up every year until you look up and wonder where it all went. The summers of your childhood weren't longer because you were young. They were longer because you were awake to them, soaked in them, recording every new thing. You haven't lost the ability to live that way. You've just stopped using it. And the day you start using it again is the day time begins, quietly, to slow back down. So here's the question that actually matters. Not, how do I get more time? You can't. The question is, how much of the time I have am I actually going to keep? And the answer, every single day, is entirely up to how awake you're willing to be. Now, here's something to carry into the next one. Your brain is constantly making this decision: what to record and what to discard, what's worth keeping and what to run on autopilot. Most of the time, that sorting serves you, but sometimes it goes wrong in small, comic, maddening ways. Sometimes your brain discards something you needed 2 seconds ago. You stand up with a perfectly clear purpose, walk into the next room, and the second you cross the doorway, the thought is gone, completely. You're standing there, blank, with no idea why you came in. That's not a glitch, and it's not your memory failing. It's the exact same recording and discarding system doing something very specific the moment you walk through a door. And once you understand it, it's genuinely fascinating. Why that happens, what a doorway actually does to your mind, is the next thing we need to talk about. For now, I want you to sit with one question and really answer it. How old were you when a single summer felt like it would never end? Picture that summer, and then ask yourself the harder part. When was the last time you had a week that felt that long? If you have to think about it, that's not a failure. That's just your brain telling you something. Tell me how old you were. And maybe, this year, let's give ourselves a few more weeks worth remembering.